You are listening to a podcast of the Geek.io Media Network. For all of our shows and more, visit geek-io.net. And to help support the network, head over to patreon.com/geekio.
Calling all geeks. Calling all geeks.
Geeking out across the globe. Hold on to your butts. It's the Geek.io Show.
The Geek.io Show.
Hello and welcome to the Geek.io Show, episode 290, our rant and review of Shazam, recorded Thursday, the 11th of April, 2019. I'm your host, Raul. Phone popping is fun, Garza.
And I'm Kerry. This cello's on fire, Wilcox.
This cello's on fire.
That fucking cello distracted me the entire first half of the movie because, like, young Mark Strong walks in and there's just a fucking cello just on fire, just sitting there. And I spent way too long trying to figure out if I actually saw a burning cello in the lair, sanctum, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, a small show tonight.
Yeah. It'll just be me and Kerry. So yeah, we're going to be talking about Shazam. Now, here's a video trailer for an audio podcast. Ding.
Drink.
I said don't scream.
Victor!
No. It's me, it's Billy. It's Billy. You asked me, flight or invisibility. I thought that was stupid, but now I look like this and I need your help. Oh, thank God.
Hey, stop right there. How do I know you're not a supervillain using telepathic abilities to make me believe that you're Billy? Huh?
What?
All I have to do is press dial on this thing.
No, I have proof. Here. Oh, look, I lied, okay? I took your bullet. Oh, no! No! Oh, stupid adult hands. But you saw it. You saw it, right? Look, Freddy, I swear, it's me, okay? Look, I know we're not really close friends or anything, but you're the only person that I know that knows anything about this Cape Crusader stuff.
It's Batman.
What?
Forget it. Can I...
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God!
That's crazy, right?
Okay. What are your superpowers?
Superpowers, dude? I don't even know how to pee in this thing.
Okay, can you fly?
All right. Oh, man, Shazam. Who knew DC can be fun?
Right? I love how it took them having like some off the wall content that didn't even originally start out as theirs
Yeah.
to actually make a fun movie.
So let's go ahead and go through the quick intro. Shazam, suggested by, it's a DC movie that we decided to cover.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a group thing, just like, hey, you guys want to do a rant review of Shazam? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it can be seen in theaters. So yeah, it just came out last week, April 5th. All right, let's see. The synopsis: we all have a superhero inside. It just takes a little bit of magic to bring it out. In Billy Batson's case, by shouting one word, Shazam. This streetwise 14-year-old foster kid can turn into the grown-up superhero Shazam. Who do we have starring in this movie, Carrie?
We have Zachary Levi as Shazam, Mark Strong, one of my favorite actors, as Dr. Savannah, Asher Angel as Billy Batson, Jack Dylan Grazer as Freddie Freeman, and I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce this man's name to save my life, Jimon Honso as the Wizard, aka that one guy from Guardians of the Galaxy who showed up in Captain Marvel and Shazam. And literally, like, I can't pronounce his name, and so we all, spoiler alert, the people who live in Robot House together all went to go see this movie together. We're sitting there after the movie going, it's that guy! Which is, I think, the same reaction we had when we saw him in Captain Marvel. Hey, it's that guy.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. One amazing part about this was that Zachary Levi's portrayal of a 14-year-old magically being turned into a about 30-year-old, perfect. He was spot on.
Yeah, he definitely had the child in an adult's body thing down. And speaking of child in an adult body, one of our pieces of trivia during the fight in the toy store, Shazam runs across a giant keyboard. This references the film Big from 1988, which, like this one, features a boy turning into an adult overnight.
Which starred Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks.
Yep.
Mark Strong has been another piece. Mark Strong has been openly enthusiastic about playing. What's the name?
Savannah.
Describing him as an evil bastard and saying how those roles are always fun to play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Watching him as Septimus in Stardust was one of my favorite parts about that movie. That and, cross-dressing Robert De Niro, but that's a whole other story. Throughout the film, Billy Batson displays a liking for tigers. He likes stuffed tigers, his backpack has a tiger on it, and as Shazam, his cape clasps have tigers on them. This is an homage to Mr. Talkie Tawny, a magical tiger who is Captain Marvel's ally in the comics before he became known as Shazam.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and he gives that little girl a tiger too, which was one of the cutest parts in the entire movie.
Oh, you want to talk about cutest part? Holy crap! We'll get deeper into it a little bit later, but the Foster family, holy crap!
One of the best parts about that movie. I honestly wish we could have seen more of them. Like the relationship between Billy and Freddie is definitely important. They're best bros and they are brothers. But it would be nice to get more of the family dynamic with all of them, and I hope that this movie gets a sequel so that we can see that. Because when they are together, it just shines.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into quotes. I'll be Freddie and you'll be Billy.
Okay.
If you could have one superpower, flight or invisibility, what would you pick? Everyone chooses flight. You know why?
So they can fly away from this conversation. Next quote. Billy, say my name!
Freddie, Mary, Darlene, Pedro, Eugene, Billy!
No, not my name. The name I say to transform into this guy.
Everyone I said before. Shazam!
The comedic beats in that scene actually reminded me more of a Marvel movie than a DC movie, which is, I guess, appropriate given this character's history.
That is true. Oh, man, but I'm so glad they kept this because I knew nothing about what happened at the end. And we'll get...
Yeah, so we have one more.
Yeah.
I can't talk to fish, and even if I could, what could I do that's cool?
Freddie, wearing an Aquaman shirt. I don't know, maybe command an army of billions from the ocean?
Well, that's not that cool. It was actually a DC Aquaman shirt too, like from the recent movie.
Yeah.
Like, so funny story. I forgot for a second, or like in the moment when we were watching this movie, I forgot that this takes place in a universe in which Superman and Batman and the Justice League are all real people. Like, I was like, yeah, it's a DC movie, whatever. But for some reason, my brain had isolated it to like its own separate universe. And so he's like, yeah, this is a bullet that got, that shot Superman. It's verified authenticity. And I'm thinking, oh, that's cute. It's a little collector's item that they shot at like a titanium plate or something. No, that thing actually hit Superman.
Oh, and I love... they went with the being self-aware of the universe without going fourth wall breaking like Deadpool does.
Right? Like the fact that there's all these academic papers that Raul is not being heard.
What do you mean I'm not being heard? Okay, there it is. Don't
Like,
worry, it'll be saved in the recording afterwards.
okay, awesome. So yeah, like you've got the awareness of the universe, like you've got all these, psychologists and other social scientists publishing peer-reviewed papers about superpowers and about the societal effects and the effects on your own, psychology having these powers. And that's a thing that would happen in the real world. Like the people in the scientific community as a whole would be all over that.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, what happens when you give random people superpowers? Um, oh, we still had one. Was that all the quotes we had? Yeah.
Yes. A lot of them were like super long, so I didn't really want to put them in here.
Okay, so production wise, I mean, the stuff they had CG, they had to do CG, but I mean, a lot of the stuff that really resonated was all the live action parts. The story, the interactions between the characters was amazing
Mhm.
because you had Billy Bats who had run away from multiple foster families, and not even bad foster families because good people. I mean, but he was the main story goes that he's looking for his mom that he got separated from when he was young.
Yeah. And one of the things that we were talking about before we came on the air, one of the points you had, Raul, which I really like and agree with, is the foster families are not the bad guys. The social worker is not evil.
Yeah, the social worker, because normally in movies like superhero movies, the social system's always seen as evil, or
Mhm.
evil, or like as a
Or just cold and uncaring, maybe not even
yeah,
outright evil
yeah,
sometimes.
and this social worker gave it to him straight,
Yeah, tough love.
tough love. Like it's just not like, oh, you have to be here. It's just like, oh, like the which one was it? Like the older movies where it's kind of like, oh, you're in the orphanage, you're unwanted and all that. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, she didn't lose her patience with Billy.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
she
another.
did.
Hmm.
I said, yeah, she did.
Mm,
Oh wait, no, you're talking. Never mind. The social worker, yeah, she did get frustrated, but she's just trying to help him, and
yeah,
Billy's kind of being a little shit.
yeah. And then he gets introduced to his new foster family, two great people.
Amazing people. I really like. I'm sad that it's probably not going to happen that they get superpowers because I want to see those people Shazammed up.
Yeah, we'll get to that part that actually stayed hidden pretty well.
Yeah, I'm
If you
surprised.
didn't know the comics at all or didn't read up before it, they actually kept it under wraps. The ending very well.
They really did, and I'm really glad that they did because in this day and age, a lot of hype surrounding movies seems to be tell us everything that's going to happen, show us all the behind the scenes footage from the climax of the film, which is why I've kind of stopped watching a lot of movie trailers. Like, I'll watch some trailers for things I'm either super excited about and can't, you know, contain myself, or things that I don't give a shit about, so I'll watch the trailer anyway, whatever. But there's some stuff that I will go out of my way to not watch because movie trailers and behind the scenes coverage give away so much, and they manage to keep the climax of the film a complete secret, which props to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone knew the climax was going to be good guy win, bad guy loses.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is not Infinity War.
Oh, oh, I gotta mentally prepare myself for that now. Uh, Yeah, that's it's needless to say that one's probably going to be a week later because
Yeah,
eh,
I don't think all of us on the network are going to be able to get tickets for opening week, what you call it, Infinity War very easily.
because everyone's going to watch it right off the bat. That first week's going to be packed.
Oh yeah, definitely. We need to actually go online and see if we can check seats. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, and that's part of the reason that it's a two-person show is because not many of us saw the movie right away, and the people who did are all otherwise occupied.
Yeah. So the Foster family, they're they have what is it, 5 and 6 with Billy?
Yes.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
6 foster children, and it's interesting because they're all at different stages in the system.
Mhm.
They're all different ages.
Yeah. Like you've got Mary who's about to age out. She's getting ready to go to college.
Yeah. Um, then you have who's the next one? Pedro, right?
Yeah, I think Pedro is next.
Who's the strong silent type?
And then Eugene who's middle school age. Yeah, you've got Freddie next who's the same age as Billy.
Eugene is your typical Fortnite PUBG player, hopped up on caffeine.
I was very excited and amused to see him on screen wearing one of these though. I was like, wait, that looks familiar.
and like the super smart one that they can Deus Ex hacker anything, right? Or
Mhm.
not really hacker, but just like he can find anything online.
He hacked into federal databases to find Billy's mom. He's a hacker.
Okay. And then you have Darla, who's a hugger
Oh, Darla is so
and
cute.
adorable. And like it's like, and Billy makes her cry.
Yeah, well, Billy for the majority of this movie is kind of a dick.
Yeah,
I mean, I can kind of understand he has a lot of issues stemming from the fact that his mom abandoned him. He doesn't know she abandoned him until later on in the movie, but she definitely did. And I'm sure that if he's running away from foster homes, they probably tried to get him therapy and he probably just didn't go or didn't listen.
yeah. So it's like because I mean, when you lose a child at a carnival or at a theme park, usually the child would be taken to, like the front office or somewhere, and the parent knows how to
Yeah.
find a lost child. You go to the office, and there, all the walkie-talkies go off, and it's like lost child, and they will find it.
Yeah, it's exactly like what happened in the movie. An employee found Billy and took him to, in this case, it was the police who were on site.
Yeah, like I knew something was up when we saw that flashback.
Hmm. The thing that I'm not quite sure about is like, okay, she went. The kid knew his name, right? Like he knew his name. He knew his mom's name. The police should have been able to look her up.
She switched over to her maiden name.
I mean, when they first picked him up,
Oh, okay.
because she didn't switch over to her maiden name that day.
Yeah, that's true.
Like there was a time that like police officers nowadays, if you have a partial plate number, you can pull up the plate and the driver's license photo of the person it's registered to. I know it probably wasn't as good back in the 90s when Billy was abandoned, but they would still have access to all that information.
And I mean, not the best way she could have gone about it
No, not at
at
all.
all, because there's ways you could have eased them into it.
You could have eased him into it. You could have, I mean, safe places exist for a reason. You go to the library or a firehouse and you see, a hospital, you see the signs that say safe place.
Yeah, I believe firehouses are like no questions asked. You can. It's a safe place without leaving the child out in the rain, outside the whatchamacallit.
The convent.
Yeah, the convent. Yeah, the stereotypical like. I know people are gonna hate me for bringing this up. The beginning of the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, I mean the beginning of a lot of movies, to be fair. I cannot count how many movies begin with a shrouded, cloaked woman, no matter what century it is. She's always wearing a hooded cloak, running up, cradling a baby in a blanket, running up the steps to the orphanage or the convent in the middle of the night, pouring down rain, put the baby on the doorstep, ring the doorbell or knock on the door, and run away all ninja like.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in Meet the Robinsons, it was in a lot of movies. But I mean, yeah, there's ways you can reach out if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you, and maybe, tell your kid, I love you, I can't take care of you. We're going to, get some help.
What's also great is that he gets his power up moment pretty early on, right? Like 30 minutes in. Because I think this movie. Let me check the runtime on the movie. It's 2 hours, which you're having fun the entire time, so it doesn't feel like 2 hours long.
It really didn't. Like, we were surprised walking out of there, like, oh, hey, it's after 5 o'clock. What gives?
Yeah, I mean, it was. So you get the power up moment. Oh, you actually get the villain intro first.
Yes, which was awesome.
That was a change.
It was a little awkward watching what looked to be an Indian boy grow up into Mark Strong.
Yeah, that was a
Little awkward there, but
yeah.
oh my god, Mark Strong owned this role too.
And he wasn't just like I mean, the guy's an evil bastard, yes, but he also like had fun with it at the same time.
He really did. He doesn't take himself too seriously, and he plays it very true to what would happen in that situation.
If you
A
were
wizard,
yeah.
you're a child summoned into a magical wizard's lair and said, "Here, have these superpowers. Wait, never mind. You're never going to be worthy. Fuck off, old wizard. You're a dick." The only reason he gives the powers to Billy is, oh, well, evil eye got stolen. Here you go. You're a superhero now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he was just fortunate that Billy was really good on deep down. He had a good heart in him.
Yeah.
Though it did take him a little while to find it, to dust it off a bit. But yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, he was no one. He gets superpowers all of a sudden. And who's the first person he goes to? His adopted brother, who he's learned that is a huge superhero nerd.
Mm-hmm.
And like the best montage is them testing his powers.
Yes, those were great.
Because yeah, you did have some of them in the trailer, but then you had some secret ones that were not. The secret fire test.
The secret fire test. That was probably my favorite one. Don't do that at home though, you guys.
Yeah, no one's fireproof. Without wait, no, you can't use asbestos anymore.
I mean, you'll be fireproof, but you'll die from
Mesothelioma.
mesothelioma.
Yes. Let's see what else. And I like how everyone was kind of like nonchalant, just kind of like, oh hey, it's a dude in a big rubber suit and a lightning bolt.
Yeah, I mean, but like we mentioned before, this is the same universe as Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Like Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman all exist in this world.
Yeah. So, and Flash.
And Flash. Yes. Poor Flash. I forgot about him.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
But
because he's not allowed to be in the movies.
so, like I was saying before, they're able to self-reference themselves without feeling like they're breaking the third wall because it's like he's running away from the bad guys. Like, get him, Batman! I'm Batman. It's a toy, like a 3-foot tall toy of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And like what's great is that he's fighting like a 15-year-old.
Yep. Yeah, it was funny seeing all the licensed merch just everywhere in the toy store because, like, oh, hey, we have these, this is our movie. We can put our own IP in there if we want. And rather than just the generic toys, it's just all DC, just everywhere. But yeah, it's basically okay. So this is going to sound kind of awful, but it's almost like the executives at DC decided, okay, this property doesn't really matter. So we're going to give it to some rando and let them have fun with it. Yes. Yeah, Josh whispers from off camera, and then they had fun, which is what DC needed. They're so preoccupied with being realistic, quote unquote, with their superhero movies, and that just translates into everything is in shades of gray, everything is horrible, everything is, super dark and grim.
Because I think they're also trying to emulate the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
Because
but
the Dark Knight is that way because that's how the original comic was. It was a dark take on Batman.
But also, like, dark and gritty Batman is not my favorite. Honestly, Lego Movie Batman is my favorite take on Batman. Give me campy as fuck because superheroes are supposed to be fun.
Then you get The Watchmen, which was what was it? It was a deconstruction of the genre
Yes.
where they just like no one really had powers except for Dr. Manhattan.
But I never actually did see that. But yeah, but DC is playing it straight.
Yeah.
And with their bigger properties, they're taking themselves too seriously. And it was so nice to actually see them have fun with a movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's what they did with Thor. Because I don't know if you saw Dark World.
Oh, Dark World was not great.
No, and then they come out with Ragnarok, and it was fun. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Which I basically, I don't know how that conversation went, but I imagine it involved Taika Waititi signing a piece of paper that says you're allowed to do whatever you want.
Yeah, and oh man, I just completely blacked out there for a second. But yeah, I mean, it's like even the darker parts of Marvel, they have they know where to put the comedy in.
Yeah, it's a balance. Like, it's not a Linkin Park music video, which is kind of what the Batman movies feel like sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially, I feel like with them trying to recapture what we lost with Heath Ledger's Joker, which, by the way, stop making Joker. It's just stop. It's just, we don't need 10 of them or however many there are, but it feels like 10. But yeah, like, Marvel knows how to balance serious, hard-hitting emotion with some comic relief. Break up the intensity a little bit.
Like, I think, let's see, what was a really serious movie but then had comedy in it? Ant-Man.
I never actually got around to seeing Ant-Man. I've heard good things about it, though.
I'm trying to think like a really serious one. I mean, the first Avengers.
The first Avengers is really, I think, the gold standard for doing that. Because you've got the epic, you've got the moments of feeling, because that's the Coulson feels.
Yeah.
But you've also got Hulk smash and puny god and I'm bringing the party to you. Like, you've got interspersed all these different layers, and you get that a little bit with Shazam more than, with Batman or God. Batman versus Superman was just a thing that exists. Or Man of Steel, which was just all scowls all the time.
Yeah.
Almost went a little bit too far in the other direction for Shazam. Like, there were moments where they tried to be a little bit more serious, but it felt a little bit awkward. But it was still heartwarming and
Well, I
still
mean, they still
enjoyable.
needed the heartwarming, serious moments.
Yeah.
Because they still needed to put more stakes into it. There was a running gag with the screaming Santa.
Oh, that poor Santa. That man is going to need some therapy.
What is it? He's got a child on his lap. They bust through the bottom of the floor, and he just like, ah!
Yeah, ditches the little girl and just runs away. But yeah, screaming Santa will always be with you, says Josh.
Oh, okay, so.
But you've got, and finally in the end, Billy finds his birth mom, and she basically says, fuck you, I didn't want to be a mom anymore.
Yeah, I mean, she was 17 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, wait, wasn't he like 5?
She was 17 when she had him, I think, is what she
Okay.
was saying. Which, by the way, they used the same actress and they didn't de-age her.
They just roughed her up.
Yeah, but so she actually looked older in the flashback than she did when Billy, was meeting her, which was super awkward. Like, I had no idea she was supposed to be a teenage mom. I'm like, oh, here's a woman in her 30s with her child.
Yeah, they could have done a little bit more on that. But yeah, I mean, she just flats out tells them, yeah, I mean, I couldn't do it, and I just left you.
Yeah, and then the thing that really got to me was at the end where she goes, now's not a good time for me. Like, really? Your child finds you after searching his entire life. Now's not a good time for me. And she forgot the keychain that kept him going this entire time.
Yeah, that.
But you finally get the vindication where he sees this and goes, you know what? I have to get back to my real family. Yep, you'll need this compass more than I will.
And then you have the big, the final. You actually get a 2-part final showdown.
Yep, because you've got the first one of just Shazam versus Sivana, which, by the way, I keep wanting to say Sylvanas, as in the World of Warcraft faction leader.
Yeah. And that one, he starts to monologue, and they're like a mile away, and Billy calls them on it. Dude, we're like a mile away. I can't hear you.
Yeah, there's like cars and shit. All I see is this.
And he's giving this epic monologue, and it's just like, you know what? I'm just coming right over there.
Yeah, and of course, him being a mile away can't hear Billy saying that he can't hear him. And then we finally get the climax where the real ending starts.
Yes, we've been hinting at it all during this whole conversation. So he's able to share his power with his siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the bat, they each get one of his powers.
Yes. Apparently they will all share all of the power set, but each one of them figures out a different power first.
So they all of them immediately get aged 10, 15 years.
Yeah, they all get adult Greek god level bodies.
So you have a Flight to Freddy. I think Pedro gets strength. I don't think Mary shows any kind of.
I asked Josh about this at the theater, and he mentioned the endurance, like the super
Oh,
durability,
okay.
which you do kind of see her grappling one of the sins.
Mm.
Um,
Uh,
Darla gets speed,
yeah, Darla does get speed. Um,
and Eugene gets the lightning hands.
yeah, the lightning hands.
What? Yes, Hadouken.
Oh my God,
That was
Hadouken!
that was amazing, and yeah, so he's able to transfer his powers, which was hinted at the beginning of the movie when the incompetent wizard says the thrones of our brothers and sisters await. There's 7 thrones. One hero was already chosen. That leaves 6 empty spots. Billy gets 1. There's 5 foster kids. And they fill out the roster. Everybody's a different color. Everybody figures out a different part of the power pool first. And they decide to, as a family, go kick some ass.
Yeah, there was a continuity that kind of threw me off a bit. When Mary goes like when she said like, "Oh, those are the 7 deadly sins." When they exit his body, we're able to hurt him.
Yeah, she just basically says when the sins are separated from him, he's just a regular old man. How does she know that those are the 7 deadly sins? Like there's very little indication. Like you can kind of see it in a little bit of some of their designs. If you know to look for it, like Gluttony has the huge mouth, um, and a few things like that, which by the way, the designs of the sins, they looked so much cooler when they were statues.
Yeah.
When they're animated, they didn't put in enough visual cues. They all just kind of look the same for the most part, except for
Yeah.
like one has wings and then Gluttony has the huge mouth, which you don't see until the very end. But other than that, they all kind of look
They
very similar.
they all kind of look like the same demon where like, oh, here's the skinny demon or here's the big demon. It's
Yeah,
like the
like
same version but just the different positions on the slider.
yeah, exactly. And they're all the same exact color, same exact texture, and it's hard to tell them apart. And I was a little bit disappointed by that. But where they did go right design wise is the costuming for the heroes.
Yeah, none of them were. They were all different colors. They all had different designs as well.
They all had slightly different designs. There was actual color in a DC movie. The lightning bolts glowing on their chest was a really cool touch. You've got the Greek patterns along the edge of their capes. The first attribute of Shazam is the wisdom of Solomon, says Josh. So Mary was smart to begin with, so that may have been her thing. That's true. That may have been just part of her shtick. But yeah, like I love the costuming in this. The, normal clothes, whatever, looks fine, but the hero costumes were really well done. Savannah with his long dramatic villain capes was kind of great. Villain coats, excuse me. He wore jackets.
Mm-hmm. I think that's. Oh, we had what was it? 3 endings. We had the regular ending, which was Shazam Billy finally showing up to lunch with Freddy.
Yes, and he brought Superman with him, which it turns out Henry Cavill was going to come back as a cameo in that, but they couldn't get him away from Mission Impossible.
So it just like the camera cuts his head off.
Yeah. But you do get to see the big S and everyone's reaction when Superman walks in.
That was great. And then the second one is the fish, right?
Yes.
Him trying to figure out Oh, the jail cell. The one where you have the villain talking to the what was it, a caterpillar with that.
It was yeah, some kind of larval like creature. I never read the Shazam comics, so I have no idea who that is, but it's clearly leading up to some kind of sequel.
Yeah, it reminded me of the brain from Teen Titans. I don't know if you remember watching that.
I remember watching Teen Titans. I don't remember the brain
Yeah,
specifically.
the brain was like their second. It was like their second to the last season that they had that one. That's where they had the whole Teen Titans Unite, where they just went crazy and brought in all the different Titans that they've had through the comics.
Yeah, I don't
You
remember
had
that at
Titans
all.
East Coast. You had introduction of like lesser known uh, uh, teen heroes, kind of like what they did with Batman and the Brave. No, Batman and the Bold. One of those two titles. Oh, the Brain. Yeah, because he speaks through that voice modulator. But I'm really interested on what they do with that.
Yeah. Okay, so his its name is Mr. Mind, and it's one of Shazam arch enemies in the comics. Apparently, he had an organization called the Monster Society of Evil.
Huh.
I'm going to paste a image in the Twitch chat. Which is a thrilling serial, Captain Marvel and the Monster Society of Evil. Ho ho! With Captain Marvel powerless, we can launch an invasion of England. And it's like a caterpillar wearing a Nazi hat with a bunch of military medals stuck on it. I don't know how those are stuck on there.
Comic book logic.
Yeah. In the last chapter, Captain Marvel flew to investigate the mysterious floating island to find out it was a Nazi invasion base being towed by a Nazi U-boat to strike at Scotland, as opposed to I don't know, British U-boats. And none other than Mr. Mind, the lowly worm with a giant's brain, has devised this staggering threat. While broadcasting a warning to the world, Billy Batson was then captured by Mr. Mind and tied to the mouth of a cannon, with only fleeting seconds of life yet left. The caption on this image, by the way, in this article I'm looking at, from Captain Marvel Adventures number 35, and yes, this is real. Okay, before you think he's kind of adorable, sometimes he is. In Shazam number 2 from 1973, he is described as having the body of a worm and the conscience of Adolf Hitler.
This was Silver Age, right? Yes. Silver Age got kind of weird.
A little bit weird.
Um.
It's
So I mean, production-wise, I mean it's a DC action superhero movie. There's gonna be a ton of CGI.
yeah, but it was pretty well done.
Yeah, it was pretty well done. I mean, um, you had the Ferris wheel, saving the people off the Ferris wheel, and the last two being the bullies. You knew that they were going to save them. There was no doubt that they were not going to.
Yeah, because heroes don't let bullies die.
Yeah. But yeah, it was great because the uh, the siblings, because they had been together for so long, all worked very well together.
Mm-hmm. Because they've been together for a long time and they were raised in an environment with by their foster parents that fosters, haha, that kind of teamwork. They have dinner as a family every night.
And like, I like how they didn't force them to fight with Billy, because I think that they would have clashed, right? You know what I mean? Like fighting style or something like that.
Yeah.
Like because he had a connection with them, but he didn't have like a
Well, he hadn't had a chance to build that bond yet.
yeah.
He's first of all, he's brand new to the family, and second of all, he spent most of his time so far with the family actively resisting them.
Yeah.
I think that will, and I really hope we do get a sequel to this because it deserves it a lot more than a lot of other movies that have gotten sequels, and it's fun. I would watch another one of these. I would watch this one again. And it would be nice to see the siblings all working together seamlessly and get more of that family dynamic.
Hmm. And they didn't kill the villain.
No, they did not. A DC movie and the villain lives.
Yeah. And it wasn't just some like nameless demons or like a robot army that they just kill indiscriminately. It was an actual human being.
Yeah, with human motivation, no less.
Yeah. Um. Oh, the final sin, because the main villain, the only way he was able to keep his power was by keeping at least one demon with him,
Hmm.
or one sin with him, and that one sin that never came out was envy.
Because that's his sin.
He was
Envious.
envious of the power of
Hmm.
being told that he would never be worthy.
Yep, and that got touched on a little bit at the beginning of the movie in the boardroom scene where he decides which of the sins is most applicable to his father and picks greed and says, "Greed, you can have him." And he basically gave himself over to his own envy.
So whenever the seven deadly sins come up, my mind immediately goes to Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, I'm getting more to where I now go to the Seven Deadly Sins series.
It's like, that doesn't look like Meliodas.
Right?
What's Gother? Oh man.
But yeah, I think so yeah, good movie, enjoyable. I hope we get another one. Are we ready to Tito this up?
Yes. I'll go first. It was a good, enjoyable movie. It hit the beats. It had the point where the hero was kind of a dick, and it's just like, how do you say that? He had his turning point where he realized that, hey, it's not just about me.
Hmm.
When he finally realizes that, like, oh, this goal that I've been going for my entire life was for naught.
Yep.
And it's just like, wow, this is a shitty feeling. You know what? I don't want anyone to feel this shitty. So, where he gets empathy.
He does get empathy and he gets the ability to move on. He got the closure that he needed.
Yeah, he needed the closure with his mother.
Hmm.
As hard as it is, closure does help.
Yep, because a lot of times you can't let go until that happens.
Hmm. Which
And the fact that his entire foster family teamed up to track her down, knowing that they might lose him because of it. Like, for all they knew, he was going to go back and live with her. And they still helped him because that's family.
yeah.
The way family is supposed to be, anyway.
Oh, I had one scene that the convenience store scene where they're like, "Oh wait, I can buy beer,"
Then they bought beer and absolutely hated it.
and then they go back in and they grab all the junk food.
Yep. This is what it looks like if you give 14-year-old boys, what was it, $73?
Oh yeah, they were like, they were charging for autographs and all this.
Well, that night, yeah, it's when they save quote unquote that lady from the robber that she pepper sprayed, and then she thought they were robbing her and gave them all the cash she had and fled. And they were like, dude, we just got $73.
Yeah, it's amazing where you can have that turning point for any superpowered person where they could go hero or villain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna fun movie, yes. Perfect movie, probably not. So I'm going to give it a 8.5.
Hey,
Still a
respectable
strong
score.
movie. It's still um for a movie to be like perfect, it would really have to resonate a lot. Well, since I haven't had much dealing with foster and what's it called social work. So I don't understand the feeling behind it.
Yeah, I
But I
would
mean
love.
it still touched. It was still touching.
Yeah, I would love to hear from kids who have been in foster home situations to see how they feel about the way this was portrayed.
Oh, the parents were great.
Oh, I want to see them have superpowers. I know that they probably won't get them, but I want to see them have superpowers. Um. So yeah, so my usual scale of movies.
Oh,
What?
in chat, she forked up the money because he threw the robber into the car and she was hush moneying herself.
Yeah, that makes sense. It still feels very close to them accidentally robbing her. Not quite the same thing.
And yeah, let's see, the destruction of private property by destroying the phone, uh, taking the bus out. So
Yeah,
yeah, he had a few mishaps.
a little bit. Um, guess it's my turn now. Would I recommend this movie to somebody else? Yes, I would. I would watch it again if somebody asked me to. So there's obviously at least a 5 at that point. Um, was I entertained? Yes, like I've been saying this whole show. It was a fun movie which DC desperately needed. Make more movies like this. Um, treatment of women in the movie, there wasn't a whole lot of female representation in this, which I can kind of understand in this context since it was primarily about Billy and his brother bond with Freddie. But I would like to see more representation in the sequel as the sisters come more into the spotlight. However, the women who were in the film were treated very well. They were not sexed up, which they very easily could have done with Mary. Her costume in the comics, as I've been told, was a hell of a lot shorter. They could have made the costumes a lot sexier, which I'm glad they didn't. They didn't do TNA shots of the teenage girls slash very, very underage girls. The mom was awesome and portrayed as a very strong figure, but in the loving kind of sense. A lot of movies, when they try to portray strong women, just treat them like you would treat a male hero who's subject to the rules of toxic masculinity. You know, rough and tumble, grunts a lot, doesn't have feelings,
Yeah, I mean, she
and
was very
fights.
loving without being, let's see, over affectionate.
Yeah, she was loving. She very clearly shows her children respect and demands respect in return. She was an authoritative parent rather than being authoritarian. Very big difference. And she is shown to be a loving partner to her husband. And by the way, husband also is a damn good husband and father who communicates with his spouse, communicates with his children, is there for his spouse and children, and is not afraid to show feelings and smile and show affection. So bravo for the way of the way they show both of these parents. Yeah, there was no boob window bolt, which DC, originators of the Power Girl costume, thank you for not doing that. So yeah, would like to see more in the future. I can somewhat understand why they took the route they did, but I would like to see the ladies play more of an equal role when we get if we get the sequel that has the whole family together fighting. But overall, a solid, enjoyable movie. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Nice.
That's 8.25 for the average. Oh, Josh is voting. And we have an 8 from Josh. I hear typing.
Yeah, 8.16.
8.16. Josh says in chat, not perfect, but definitely would not mind owning. It was fun, and fun is in caps. I agree.
I mean, why would you want to go to a superhero movie and have fun?
Right?
Have fun and be entertained and not just watch it for just the action.
Watch it for angsty, emo edge lords screaming about Martha.
On that note, you can listen to the show every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Fridays at 12 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, right? Is that how that? I hear this every
Yes.
week, but since our Aussie is currently in the Eastern Time zone right now, you can watch the show live right here on twitch.tv/geekio show. You can get a hold of us at show@geek-io.net, Twitter, Facebook, all social media is Geek.io show. You can reach us at the Geek Hotline, 727-489-4335. That's 727-489-GEEK. Next week, tune in for a chance to win tickets to the Largo PlayCon. It's a local convention that we're helping out with this year. It will be held on Saturday, April 20th. April 20th. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. This is my first time going to this convention, so
I had a blast last year. It's a smaller con, but there's a lot of families that go there, and it's just a good time for everybody.
yeah, and it's from what I've been hearing, like you said, like it's a small family one, so it's they told me that they had sold like, I don't know if I can give numbers out, but they sold a good number of tickets, and I think they lowered the age for kids to 12. That get in free, 12 and under. So they're hoping to see more kids come in. But yeah, let's see. Oh, don't forget to join us on the Discord if you want to talk to us when we're not streaming. Over on geek-io.net/Discord, and remember to support us over on Patreon, patreon.com/geekio, for a private room with all of your favorite geeks, all of us here. Master feed of all the shows and much, much more. Is it time for?
It is time for
The Summer Movie Smackdown Update.
So yeah, we have Us ending its run. Dumbo is also ending its run. Pet Sematary and Shazam have started their second weeks. Raul is in the lead with $6,929,000. No, I am not reading it off to the cent. Josh is in second with $4,933. I am in third with $2,492. Not bad for my first movie. Monica is in fourth with $2,194. CJ and Budlong are still waiting for their first movies.
Oh man, yeah, Us brought in quite a few bucks for me.
I've heard some really good stuff about that movie.
Yeah, before I watch Us, I gotta watch. Is it called Inside? No,
Get Out.
Get Out. I need to watch Get Out before I watch this one. I did start watching some of the new Twilight Zone. First episode, probably because I'm used to the old Twilight Zones. But
I
yeah,
didn't even know there was a new one.
oh yeah, because it's hosted by Jordan Peele, the director
Oh, nice.
and writer of Us and Get Out. But
Nice.
I really hope that he has directed or written one of those stories.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. All right. We've had a couple of things going on in the past week on the network.
Yeah, he does. CJ can. Sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
Go ahead.
CJ continues to die twice in the shadows in Sekiro. Small Screen Spoiler showed it in an Overcast cast and talked about the last 5 episodes of the Umbrella Academy. Heard really good things about that show. Have not seen it yet. On Exploding Dice, who would have thought that sewers were miserable places? Who would have thought that mad science was evil, not L? Who would have thought that the Chaos Mage was bad tour guide? This week, the full force of the Gatewatch faces their biggest enemies, walls.
All right, guys. And with that, we bring this light edition of the Geek.io Rant Review of Shazam to an end. Thank you for joining us. Be kind to each other, and we'll catch you all next time. Bye.
You have been listening to a Geek.io Media Network LLC production. Would you like to convert that to pounds? Copyright 2019.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.